Broadcasting from the jungles of Southeast Asia, it is time for the Ed Namrock Podcast.
Today is Monday, March 29th, 2021. Approximately a year ago today, we were still at home trying to figure out what the fuck was going on in the world. So, welcome to a mental health check-in edition of the Ed Namrock Podcast. And I mean that because a lot of things have happened, not only this week, but this entire month. And then some, of course, you guys already know that. Where I decided to start doing this at least once a week or once every 2 weeks, simply because you need to. And I've come to realize, like, fuck all the syndication, fuck all the banter with promos and paywalls and all this shit. None of that stuff means anything if you're not doing well up here. And, for a lot of people, it could be something as simple as this whole pandemic thing and the uncertainty that comes behind it. And it could also be someone trying to jack your shit from your fucking credit card or your checking account and try to get them, caught in the act because they're trying to fucking steal your money. It's crazy. Hey, what's up, Asia? Asia says yes, because we start feeling like hermit crabs with all this craziness. And here's the thing, and even if you are a homebody, you still need to get out. The walls only close in so much. And when I'll tell you a story, and this is it could be hypothetical and it could be true, but I'll leave you to your imagination. I had a colleague not a while back that had a mental breakdown, and this person wasn't doing well only because, one, this pandemic really, the stay-at-home thing, working remotely and all that, as many avenues you want to find, like how to soften the blow, how to get yourself in the groove, exercise, all that stuff. A lot of this stuff could only allow you to reach I call it a threshold, a mental threshold of contentment. And what I mean by contentment, and this is resorting back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and also the interpretation, which is paraphrased by Dr. Chloe Madonis and Tony Robbins. Your first four needs of the ego. Right now, in the past year, you have developed ways to fulfill. Most of us drink, most of us smoke, most of us put a bunch of tattoos in places we haven't put on before, piercings. And then there's quite the contrary, where we're filling those needs by doing some lavish and careless, like stealing someone's information on the internet, trafficking drugs, committing assault and battery, like that type of shit is, it's instant, where how you feel significant, and then you feel that void that you've been wanting to basically fulfill, where otherwise you would fulfill in more productive ways. And it's fucked up. It's been happening too often now. And then we get all these initiatives with the new Los Angeles District Attorney, George Gascon. I'll put his name out there because, I have very, very heavy opinions on the guy, and I know what he's doing, and I don't think it's right. And I know why he's doing it. And it's quite frankly, it's why should you, it's at some other people's expense, and that's why they're demanding a recall from this guy. But that's just the trickle effect. This is the ego thing I'm talking about. And the fucked up part is there's too many opportunists in this world. And as My confidant here that I'm going to bring on will also tell you, because he has a really interesting story that he shared with me today. Mm, usually I come on here on this podcast and I'm filled with comedic stuff and just trying to bullshit and try to fancy different things. But when shit gets really real, really real, that's when I kind of take a step back and reflect. I'm like, okay, what is it that I can bring to attention to get people to start saying, hey, yeah, he's right. I'm not alone, because you're not. I mean, I'm going through it as well. And, I've been lucky to live somewhat of a privileged pandemic where I actually kept my job, but it's not the same. Even if you have kept your job, it's not the same. And I know most people like me, I was working 2 jobs at one point. I was working ride share, which the only reason I stopped doing it was because of the pandemic getting really bad. So I feel for all of you who are doing the goddamn thing, surviving, managing ways that you never even thought you would have to resort to. And unfortunately, sometimes it gets really desperate, and I understand. But I mean, what else can you do, right? And there's a lot of things that are definitely you definitely have control over, and you definitely don't. How do you distinguish both? A lot of it is not trying to control something that's completely out of your paywall. Like, don't try that. Don't try to play a hero. Don't try to play, savior. You're not. I mean, you're only a civilian like the rest of us. And and then there's stuff with that stuff too. Like when you think you're making a difference, you think you've been a rebel, you're really not. And I'm talking to you, anti-maskers. Yeah, talking to you guys. But let me bring on my homie, my brother from another, with Patrell. My faces are zoomed in. Hey man, thanks for coming on. And why are you muted? Damn it! Are you muted? Hold on. Yeah, I can't hear your mic. Hold on, let's see. Try it again. Nothing. No. Try leaving and come back. Yeah. We'll get it figured out right now. No, but anyway, look, here's the main thing that before Wick comes back, I'll address. A lot of people aren't they're not practicing gratuity, I guess you could say. I know I get kind of sloppy with it, and I forget how to daily exercise that that muscle. It's called the gratuity muscle. Now, I knew nothing about it until like maybe just recently, until this whole pandemic happened. But it's really difficult, because at the same time, while you're stressing out about different things, you still have to be grateful for the stuff that you still have. It's very taboo, but at the same time, super necessary. People have to do it daily. I used to write it out, but then I got kind of creative and started doing it virtually with like, here's one thing I do. I send myself emails and I just type out my thoughts. And I've been doing this for about 10 years. And that's how I also get content for the podcast, just to talk about and whatnot. But I was looking at some of my old journal entries, and they were pretty dark and morbid. It's like, gosh, it's kind of like, I remember how James Hetfield felt when he was talking about his lyrical content back in the early 80s, late 80s, with a different mindset after he got sober, which is crazy because he was completely obsessed with death, which is really, really interesting. Like, I know a lot of people obsess over that, and that's something that you quite don't want to obsess over. I don't feel the need to obsess with death. But nonetheless, it's a big white elephant in the room that everybody ignores. But yet you ignore it because you want to pursue the ultimate goal of living without jeopardizing anything less than. You don't want to not live it up. Is what I'm saying. Aegis is so true. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, totally. And then here's the other thing too is most people do a really great job. And I'm talking about the media too. They do a splendid job of just focusing on the negative, which I think can be a good thing. I'm not saying that, positive thinking and all this manifestation bullshit, like, oh yeah, manifest a fucking four bedroom house for $9.99. No, it doesn't work that way. You don't go into a garden and say, okay, there's no weeds. Imagine there's no weeds you have to pull the motherfuckers out. That's basically what I'm saying. Wishful thinking is just that. I mean, praying is one thing, but prayer without action, in my opinion, this is just my personal opinion. Prayer without action is basically a wasted effort. You exercise one muscle, which is the brain, and the act of visualization without actually putting any footwork into it. That's my thought on that. And a lot of these old hipsters that I used to argue with all the time when I worked in Koreatown and Westwood, they totally disagree with me. Like, no, if you think it'll happen. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. If that's the case, tell that to a homeless person who's struggling with addiction. And you got to say, oh, visualize yourself getting sober overnight. No, it doesn't work that way. There's steps to it. Yes, there is a muscle that you have to flex, which is your brain, but you have to do the footwork, and it works in sync. So you have to do both. And sometimes it doesn't always, and I'm going to use sports as a comparison because it's a performance driven, I guess you could say, action. And the same thing with, selling cars or real estate, whatever. Yeah, you can't really be now, I'm not going to say negative, but you can have distorted thoughts. That's what I'm saying. Your ultimate goal is to reach a goal and get it to stick. It's called retention. You can't just imagine it and not doing anything. You know what I'm saying? And Asia says that's where the saying comes, practice what you preach. Absolutely. It's like, but then it's like, then this guy's like Gavin Newsom who's saying, oh yeah, don't go out of the house, don't go to restaurants, but yet his winery is open and he's caught in the act with his pants down at a restaurant. So that's the ego thing that I'm talking about, because everyone, especially politicians, they're the ones that have the most ego to fill. The certainty, uncertainty, the variety, the significance, and the love and connection, that those first four, not just five, those first four, that's some really interesting stuff, because these needs are universal and everyone thinks I'm bullshitting, but you can compare the needs of the Democratic Party, for example, and the Republican Party. They're the same fucking thing, man. They're the same fucking thing. So let's check in with Whit, see if he got his life together.
All right. Can you hear me though?
Oh my God. And you have reverb? Wow.
Well, just a little bit. I want to make it sound like I'm in a big room or something.
But shameless promotion again, guys. Tune into the 5 Foot Viking podcast. It's on OnlyFans exclusively now. And also xvideos.com/5. I'm kidding. All major platforms, people. Don't forget. I'm also I guess I could call myself a contributor to the 5 Foot Viking podcast. But nonetheless, this is and going back to we were just talking. I was just mentioning that this whole lockdown happened. We managed to at least survive it, but at the same time, I'm saying that when there's the first 4 needs, right? There's certainty, there's variety, there's significance, and then there's love and connection. The first 4 needs. Those are the first 4 needs of the ego. So, people have gotten desperate, and Whit would tell you that he had a moment of desperation where someone got desperate on him and tried to jack him for his fucking money.
Yeah, that was
And
fun.
can you please tell the class what happened to you today?
So
Because it's some fucked up shit.
yeah, it's funny when you hear stories about people about credit card fraud, or you hear stories about people that have gone through stuff like this, and at least for me, I've always thought to myself, it'll never happen to me. No, I'm cool. My password is great. My password is shift 1234. Like that's great. Nobody can crack that. So so I always think that's like,
That's so funny, dude.
it's just never going to happen to me, right? So
Right.
weird thing is that, like, I got through this weekend. I had a big I got a lot going on at school, and I got a lot coming up with the band and the podcast, and there's just a lot on my plate, right? And last night I was feeling really optimistic, and I'm like, I sat down and I wrote this to-do list of, it was like a page and a half worth of shit. Like, it was so much stuff to do this, call this person, text that person, clean the backyard, and wash the cat, and like all kinds of stuff that, like, just this huge thing of like, I'm gonna knock out a whole bunch of stuff tomorrow, right? So then today I wake up once again feeling really optimistic and just motivated. I'm gonna do this. I jumped into my workout clothes, like I'm getting ready to work out and stuff, and I did a bunch of stuff in the morning, and then right before I was about to jump into the workout, it's probably about noon, and I get this, I turned on the Insanity video, because I work out in the living room. So, so I turn it on, and I'm getting ready to start warming up, and I get this text message, and I just looked over, and it was one of those weird like push notifications. And so I clicked on it, and it said, Chase fraud department alert. Have you, did you spend $444? Did you authorize this? Text yes or no.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, so I texted no. And then literally right after that, I got a phone call from like an 877 number. And I'm like, yeah, I should, normally I don't pick up those because they're always, something, but I'm like, okay, something pushed me, like, answer this right now.
Right.
I turn off the TV, and I answer the phone, and it was a really nice lady from Chase. And she was like, hey, so, and I'm paraphrasing everything. She was definitely a lot more eloquent with the way she spoke, but she was like, hey bro, did you just spend $450 in Texas at Walmart in Texas?
Texas, out of all fucking places, man.
And I was like, no. She's like, did you authorize anybody to use your card in Texas? I said, no, I'm in Huntington Beach getting ready to work out right now. Like, no, nobody should be using my card in Texas,
man.
So she goes, let me put you on a quick hold. She verified my ID, and, verified who I was, and did all that. The first lady was really cool. She was really nice. She was really helpful. She was like, I'm sorry it's taking so long. I was literally on the phone with her for about an hour and 20 minutes. Because she was going line by line through my stuff. And she's like, did you authorize this one? I said, yes. She's like, did you authorize all of these OnlyFans? I said, yes. And then, no, I'm just kidding. She goes, did you authorize this payment at a gas station at a racetrack in Dallas? And I'm like, no. And so it was weird. There was like two or three transactions that literally happened like within the last like hour and a half or 2 hours. And I said, no, I'm in Huntington Beach. I haven't authorized anybody to use my business account anywhere, that type of stuff. So long story longer, I'm staying on the phone with her. It's been like about an hour and a half, and she's going through the motions, and she's like, I'm trying to get all this stuff wiped out. I'm also going to send you a new card and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I was really happy with, yes, it's an inconvenience, but wiping my account clean is more of an inconvenience. So the fact that Chase caught that shit so quick was pretty impressive, really impressive. And but then having a cell phone, I got a dropped call. Like, it dropped for some reason. It just dropped the call, and I'm like, shit.
Whoa!
So I'm thinking, like, are they going to call me back? So unfortunately, they didn't call me back.
Call you back, yeah.
Well, she didn't. No. So maybe 10 minutes later, I said, let me call him back. So I tried calling, and you don't get the same person. There's like multiple call centers and stuff. So I ended up getting getting some guy that was, I had to re-explain my whole situation and tell him that somebody was helping me and blah 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 and this and stuff. And then so he starts helping me, and I'm on the phone with him for a little over an hour. Same thing. I just have it. He's like, I'm sorry this is taking so long, but we have a lot of calls and we're trying to track everything down and blah, blah, blah. So then next thing you know, it's like a little over an hour later, that phone call drops. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I can't have this. And here's the, I'm like, oh my God. And
no, it did.
And here's what sucks too, is because I went to go log into my account. I came into my bedroom. I was like, I get on my laptop and it locked me. They locked me out of my system. They locked me out of my, they said, you cannot log in right now because they're doing stuff. So I'm thinking to myself, like, do I call back? Do I stay online? What do I do? So I call back again. And this time I'm on the phone with this lady who was really, and maybe, I got to give her the benefit of the doubt. It was late in the day. Maybe she was cranky. Maybe I was cranky, but she wasn't the nicest person in the world. And it was frustrating because I'm explaining to her exactly what happened, blah, 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 blah. And she was really short with me. And she was very, very short with me. And she said, sir, what do you want me to do? And I was like,
oh, wow.
Oh, okay. This is customer service. And I lost it. And I'm like, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to reactivate my stuff. I want you to deactivate this card. I want you to send me another card. I want you to make sure that I just went down the list of like all the stuff that the other lady was doing. But this one was just just very confrontational Lord. And stuff, just wasn't like willing to help. I'm like, come on. So, she goes, well, you have to use a whole new email and password and create all that stuff. And I'm like, at first she wanted to verify my identity. And I said, great, no problem. The last two people did it. Send me they send you like a notification. And I got to read back the code that they send me. And she goes, she told me the last four of my phone number. I said, yeah, that's the number. Mm-hmm. So she's like, well, it didn't go through. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, what do you want me to do? Like, I can turn my phone off and turn it on. And she goes, do you have another number? Jesus. And I said, no, this is my only number. And she goes, okay, well, I can't verify your identity. And I said, there has to be another way. So she puts me on with this automated system where I literally spoke into the phone and I said everything. Like I put down all of my, it said, tell us your last four of your social, tell us your address, tell us your, the last four.
Jeez, that's a fucking nightmare, man.
Dude, I went through all this stuff. And then even the automated system said, thank you for verifying your identity. And I was like, you're welcome, automated system. And then it sends me back to the homegirl. And I go, okay, so can we do this and this and this? And she goes, sir, we don't just give out fraudulent information to people. And I'm like, it was the weirdest.
Whoa.
I was so frustrated because I needed her help. I needed her help in order,
right.
Trust me,
that's a distress right there, man.
I'm more of one of those dudes that I would rather go online and do it all myself. Like if I can go online and do it myself, cool. Like I'm the guy that I deposit my checks with the picture. I don't need to go. If I don't need to go into a branch, then I don't go. Like I like to do all my stuff from my. So, but the problem is I couldn't do that because I needed her help. So,
right.
So by this time it's about 4:00 and the branches close at 5. And I said, you know what?
Right.
Thank you so much for your help. Goodbye. Like I'm not, I can't go anywhere with this girl. So I called up the closest branch and
this is so fucked up.
Yeah. And I talked with one of the bankers there and I said, listen, I know you guys are super busy and I know you guys take appointments and stuff. I explained just a fraction of my situation. I just said, any chance you can help me out? And he was like, yeah, come on down. And I said, cool, I'll be there in 10 minutes. So I rolled over and he got on the phone. He's on a landline. So he hopefully that didn't drop, but he jumped on with them. And this guy laced me up. Like he took care of everything. He ordered all new cards. He canceled the one that was fraudulent. And he said, because I still have the old ATM cards that just have the chip. They don't have like the tap. You know what I mean? You know how some of the cards now they have like the tap?
Yeah.
So I don't have that stuff. And he's like,
I don't either actually. I need to get one.
Yeah. So he's like, you know what, dude? Anytime
so fucking
anytime
crazy.
that there was this much, and this is the craziest part. So I'm sitting there with him, and we're going line by line through all of my accounts, you
Mhm.
know, my business account, my savings account, my personal checking, I'm going through line by line. He was like, and it looks like the first lady took care of
Mhm.
it. She took care of the fraudulent stuff, took it off, but then unfortunately our call ended before she could finish everything. So she had taken care of all that stuff. We were going line by line. And then right before I bounced, I'm like, hey man, everything looks good. We changed the address. We changed the PIN number. I changed this, you know, all the stuff that we had to do to make it safer. And we
Mhm.
upgraded the security, and he showed me how to do that.
Yeah.
And then he goes, and then he's like, before you leave, dude, log on your phone. Make sure you can do that as well. Like, let's double check everything. It was just really smart guy. So
Mhm.
log in, I'm looking, and my savings account, which, I mean, let's face it, I'm a musician. I don't have a lot of savings, but the little bit of
You're
savings
like, I
that I
have
did
tens of
have,
dollars.
I make hundreds of dollars a year. The, so the little bit of money that I did have saved in my savings account was gone.
What
It was
the
gone.
fuck, man?
But what I realized right then was that it wasn't taken out. It was transferred to my personal checking. And when we
What?
saw that, and we saw what time it was transferred at 4 o'clock, or at something, like it was transferred at like right before they locked the account. So I think the banker, he says that he thinks that that's what triggered the lock, because he thinks that they weren't, whoever it was that's out there, they weren't after my card. They were after my account, because that way they could go in, take everything, put it to my checking, and then Zelle themselves.
No. That's new, man.
How crazy is that, dude? That's
what
crazy.
The fuck?
So, I mean, I'm just, I mean, it's one of those things where
that's-
today I
Wait,
fail.
well, how would that work though? I mean, you have a savings account.
Obviously, someone
your account.
they instead of hacking into my card, they were trying to hack into my account, because when you can hack into your account, I have one of those accounts where I have all of my accounts all together.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
a one-stop shop, like everybody.
Right,
You know,
right.
so they could go into there. If they can hack into that, they can literally transfer money from my savings and my business checking and this, and they can put
move
everything into
stuff
one,
around,
and then just
basically,
one giant Zelle to
But
themselves.
why would they Zelle your?
Because it's real time.
Hmm.
It's real time money that goes. I mean,
that's not very smart though. If they're going to Zelle themselves, that there's a number and an email tied to it. Yeah, the money does disappear though.
I'm pretty sure that, you know, the people who are doing that are much smarter when it comes to fraud. I mean, I don't know how to fraud anybody. I don't know how to lie to my wife. Like, I don't know how to do any of that. So, well, I'm sure they've thought about that.
I mean, with money, I've never really seen it happen. I mean, the only thing I've seen happen, and I can't really explain it because I don't understand the concept, is money laundering. Mm-hmm. And I used to see that all the time when I used to work at Chase in San Gabriel. And I knew what was happening, but I couldn't really, I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I, the Fed? Yeah. No, I'm a bank teller. I can't do any of this. Yeah. The one thing I do know is, how did they get your password to your account, right?
That's the weirdest shit.
It could have been this, and I noticed this. When you log in for whatever reason into a public network, like say a Starbucks, a McDonald's, a library, and you log into your account, you've just exposed yourself. I know that for a fact, because pertinent to the subject, it happened to me. With my Chase account, and it was $150 that they were trying to authorize at a Safeway in Arizona. They were trying to buy groceries with my money. And I'm like, motherfucker, if you would have known me, you say you need $150 for groceries, I would have gave you it. Or at least for fucking gallons of milk, bitch.
I got 5 on it.
You don't have to steal from me. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you need a 12-pack? It's only $8.99.
See, that was the weirdest thing. With all the headache that went into today, and like that whole to-do list that I had just went into the trash can. Yeah. It didn't go to the trash. I'll probably do most of it tomorrow, but it's amazing how just at the drop of a hat, so that the whole day could change, and there was so much
Right.
riding on that. And literally, as soon as I left the branch, I had this weird feeling of being pissed off, but at the same time being extremely grateful, because
Right.
you know
Right.
did my my day suffered. I didn't get the stuff done that I wanted to do. It took up a whole lot of time. I got aggravated talking with someone and trying to explain myself and doing all that. I had to drive to a branch and I had to do all this stuff. But what's the other side of that? I could have been my accounts could have been drained, and
Totally.
and rent's
Totally,
coming up,
man.
and we don't have a lot of money right now. We're musicians are barely getting back to somewhat of a normal, we're getting a few shows here and there. So I mean, it's just amazing that in a time like this, there's still people out there that are like, wow. That just surprised me. Like, it surprised me and it didn't surprise me. I think more
Right.
surprised me.
Well, here that's the thing I'm also talking about is, going back to, the 6 human needs that I was explaining. That's part of the variety of your life. Like you said it, like just like that, at the drop of a hat, your whole day changes. Your entire day changes. And people call it problems. Other people call it surprises. Like they see it as obstacles. Like, I mean, for me, here's the thing. I'm big on the definitions that I give to whatever happens to me in my life. Like lately, it's been very frustrating because we can't define it as something good. Like this shit with the fraud thing, how can you define it as good? Yeah. But in the flip side, you got to see it as like, oh yeah, well, motherfucker, I got to change my passwords. I got to put on.
I don't think you can define it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you can define it as good, but you can also come from a position of, let's try to find the good in it.
Right, which is difficult.
Absolutely, dude. When I left the place difficult. I went, I didn't even get in my car. I walked next door to the liquor store. I picked up an 18-pack of this, and I'm like, well, I missed my workout today, so I'm just gonna come home and I'm just gonna have a few curls. Yeah, I'm just gonna have a couple drinks and I'm just gonna relax and be grateful. And at that point, I seen this. Yeah.
Oh, look. So Asia says that they have these card machine readers that can attach to anywhere you swipe or insert your card, and it saves it. Then they can download it to a server. Yeah, that's a big fraud business. And Alexandria Lampkin, hey, you handsome fuckers. We finished dinner and gonna break in the car. Back in a few chat. What's up?
Nice.
What's up?
That's neighbors.
Man, shout out to Brett too. And I've met Alexandria, right? Didn't I?
I don't know. I don't know.
No,
you know
I
what?
met Brett.
No, Brett came down.
We gotta run it back.
She was tired.
Run it back. Yeah. And here's one thing. Okay. And I'm going to revert back to what I was talking about at the beginning before you came in. This is a hypothetical. Is it true? Is it not true story? Because I don't want to throw up any names, but I'm just going to give you the scenario. I had an old colleague that had a fucking mental breakdown during this whole pandemic. And I felt bad, bro. I felt bad because I know her. I know it's a female, obviously. I know her situation. I know what she's gone through. I know how long she's been doing this for. And I feel powerless. This is the uncertainty part of the feelings that I have, because I don't, you want to be Superman in some things, but you can. And funny thing is I was just watching Batman versus Superman with my son. And of course it's an adult movie, but he was so into it. And he's like, wait, Dad, like, how come, he asked me a very, very, very interesting question. He goes, Dad, how come Superman's saving people, but other people are still getting hurt? And I'm just like, son, I'm like, he's Superman. He can't save everyone at the same time. He's like, but he's Superman. So in his eyes, Superman can save everyone. But then Bruce Wayne comes in and he goes, no, motherfucker, you blew up my building and everyone in it when you were fighting with fucking your homie from Krypton or whatever. Yeah. And
General
I'm just
Zod.
like, fuck, man. Yeah. And it's like, for every action, there's not an equal reaction. There might be an even worse reaction. It's like, and that's the variety of the 6 human needs. The certainty, of course, you already know. I've always meant to ask you, because I don't think I have. Would you consider yourself a certainty freak, or you're more like living on the edge? What would be, I mean, What would you consider yourself as?
I think
You
it
want to
depends
know
on
when it happens,
there's
how it happens. Like, you
different
don't like
situations for
surprises?
that for me anyways.
Right.
There's like because there's moments where having that balance, I guess that's what I try to try to live that balance, and even in like other aspects of life, like in being a musician,
Right.
being a musician, you want to have that creativity, and and creativity comes from having that uncertainty, because you don't know what the song is going to be until you write it. You don't know which way it's
Right.
going to go until you feel those emotions and do that. So that uncertainty
or learn a new song to play that you never thought. Well, I'm like, well, I never thought I would, see myself.
to be
playing this.
open-minded,
For
to have that
example,
creativity. But on the flip
Yeah.
side of that, being the proprietor, I guess, or the business owner side of the band, you also have to be certain of certain gigs and what time we're going to be there and what time is sound check, and
Right.
so there's
That's
like
the
a
certainty
balance.
part.
There's a balance
Yeah.
to it. So I guess that's what I would have to say. It would depend on the situation. There's certain things
That
in life
and-
that. Go ahead.
Well, I know you for sure. For sure, you have to make sure all the equipment is fucking working. For example.
Yeah. Like I'm so
That's
burned out
100%
today.
true.
Like right now, I checked everything and I was like, okay, I'm good to go. And then I jumped into the back office. I could hear me fine. I'm like, all right, cool. And then it come on and you can't hear him. I was like, now I got to troubleshoot this shit. And like, and then as soon as you like, literally, I'm like, I was checking everything. I'm like, what's going on? And then I checked and it
Yeah.
was a setting in main stage. So,
okay. So see, but here, that's exactly the example that I've used in the past too. And this is part of the anxiety that my old colleague has, because she's not very tech savvy, and she had to learn during this whole year, which a lot of people did.
yeah.
And you already
too.
learned, okay, yeah, you've learned like, okay, if shit goes wrong like this is what I have to do. Before you're like, oh shit, like you're scrambling going, what do I do?
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people have to teach themselves. It's not really, this as well as I do. I can only lead you to the water. I can't make you jump in and learn how to swim, dude. And I use that analogy because, horses can drink right out of the water when you lead them, but they don't jump into the water like humans do. And that's if like you analyze the fucking water. If it's swampy, you ain't going in. Like, no, don't even try it. So,
well, you bring up a good point with that. So let's use this analogy of like, tech going wrong, and like how I had to learn in the past with you during the pandemic. I had my learning curve, but the creativity side versus the analytical side. Okay, so let's talk about those two. So literally, I was so over analytical that I would FaceTime with you on here, and we would literally do like a mock-up podcast, and we would do exactly what we're doing here, only it was just for the two of us. We weren't going live, and there were times, and that was like my practice, and I was so analytical about that. And so practicing to troubleshoot and figure it out, because that way, when we do something live like this and something happens, I can fix it real quick, because that way, and I don't have to spend too much time being analytical.
Absolutely.
Because this part, the podcast part, the part where we connect, the part where we explore ideas, like this is the uncertainty part. This is the fun part that we get to just go down this road and see what happens and have a conversation.
Yeah.
And so the more that we prepare beforehand, the better the podcast can be, and the creativity.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
And those first two needs are very crucial, because right now, as we speak, people are still wondering like, fuck, is rent going to be met? Fuck, am I going to have a shift tomorrow with, blah, blah, blah. And those two right now are very important, because the third one, which is significance, that's an ego need that we do on a daily, as to how to fulfill feeling needed, feeling wanted, feeling special, a part of something. And I know right now, I'm referring back to this colleague of mine, that's what this person is lacking. And it's very evident that when you don't feel somewhat special. Let me hear let me hear it.
I wasn't sure if I should.
You got to do like the ASMR like videos. Like,
well, I was going to say, speaking of needs.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you got my text earlier, but I said, I think you should have a beer waiting and ready because I was going to challenge you to a beer chug.
Oh Lord, man, we got to do that this weekend because I drank all of it last night.
Well,
I am such a glutton with beer. I mean, not alcohol. I mean, because I can't finish a whole bottle. Like I remember I bought a bottle of Proper 12 when it first debuted, and that thing lasted me a month.
Really? A month?
I can't with liquor. I can't do. As well as I do, man. Yeah. We've had some crazy Wednesday nights where I had to sleep in my car for a little bit before I went home.
Like you'll drink beer all night and you'll be fine, but then you have one shot and you're counting ceiling tiles, man. Bro. Like
yeah,
you're
I'm hanging out with people while FaceTiming, man. That's my that's my MO. And no, but like here's the thing: is I've also tasted like the non-alcoholic beers, right? And I kid you not, with those things are just the same without the buzz, man. And it's the same feeling. Yeah. Like if you drink a whole 6-pack, you get the same, I guess the same, not bloatedness, but like the same fulfillment of the yeast, I guess, but without the buzz. And that's how I know. I'm like, I just love the taste of fucking beer. It's a bonus that you get buzz, but like, God, it's so good, man. I just love it.
I don't know if I want to do this. You
gonna try it?
Brett and Alex, I will save you both a beer. I know you guys, they were working on their car earlier tonight, taking care of the rotors and the brake pads. He's an amazing guy that he knows how to do this stuff. Like I look like I might, but I'm not savvy when it comes to doing anything to a car other than, taking
I just know how to check fluids and make sure, check oil.
I know when the light comes on, I take it in. Like that's all I know. But here's the thing,
especially with the cars nowadays. So
everybody that's at home during the pandemic, because we're still in a pandemic, but towards the beginning, right? Towards the beginning of the lockdowns, the shutdowns, we're talking about a little less than a year ago. I would say maybe June of last year is when
about 9 months ago, roughly.
Yeah, everybody was stay at home. Everybody was no work, no nothing, no. So, and being the extrovert that I am, and being in clubs and bars and restaurants, 6 nights a week, I'm staying home, and I'm like, and I don't get tired. So it's like 10, 11, midnight. And I'm like texting motherfuckers, and I'm just being like, hey, is anybody awake? Like, does anybody want to FaceTime and drink? And this guy right here is like, well, let me point to him. This guy right here, he would always jump on with me. And one night I said, because if you don't know if you know Edgar, he can chug beers like fast, like really fast. Like it takes like less than a second and he's done with a full, 16 ounce. I can't do that. Yeah. So we would have races.
You can.
And I would get so schmammered just trying to keep up with him. And I was thinking about trying it right now live on your podcast.
Try it.
But I'm afraid though, because I'll probably get halfway done with this thing and then I'm going to spit it all over my computer.
Let's see. Try it.
All right, here we go. This is
you want me? Okay. I'll share a tip with you. This is how, because people who don't have tonsils can just guzzle it down. I don't know if you know that. I have tonsils. Oh, wow. Damn. The trick is you're supposed to push your tongue to the back of your throat like that. Most people have their tongue up high. So with a
couple of beer races. Oh, that's great. I heard
he chugs like, oh, Anthony, that is an insult. I do not chug like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers sips.
All right. You know what? I'm going to try it. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't judge me. This is horrible. I'm not good at this.
Right. Para arriba. Go. Okay, good. Very good. Told you it works. See? There it is. Told you it works. Did it work? Did you do it?
Oh, I did it. Yeah. Bam.
Told you it works, man. Yeah. That was very good, man. I've never seen you do that before.
I've never had, I think it's because the pressure's on. I know we've got, we're all the way to Southeast Asia,
Southeast Asia.
So,
and all right. Here's another trick I've learned from my Vietnamese buddies, because they all drink Heineken. I don't know if you know that. They're I don't know what it is, but I've had a few like blackouts with my homies. But what they do is they get the Heineken bottle, they put a straw in it, and they bend it, and they hold the straw, and then
Becomes
yeah, it's like a turbo, like, you know, stream right down your throat. But one of my buddies does a tornado, like a twister. He goes like that. He goes like this, and he goes like that, and it goes like that. I was like, oh,
those are the guys
cool, man.
So when me and Marlene go to
what's
that trick again? when we go to whenever we go to Cabo, and for anybody that's at home watching, if you ever go to Cabo, make sure you go to the Mango Deck. Okay, the Mango Deck is this
I've heard a lot about it.
Like little bar restaurant that's right on the beach. And during the day, I mean, this is the place that you go to people watch. This is the place where you go and you post up.
Really?
You get a bucket of beers for like $8. And you post up and you get some food and you hang out, and there's indoor, there's outdoor, there's on the beach. So we go there, and like we always make sure that one of the days of our vacation is spent strictly at the Mango Deck. We go there and we'll go next door to the office and we'll have breakfast, because that's one of the best breakfasts you'll ever have. Put your feet in the sand. Oh my God. It's called the office. You go in there, you put your feet in the sand, and you just post up, and you got some umbrellas and stuff, and you got this great view, and you just have a great breakfast. And then we'll go next door and we'll fucking pound. And the cool thing is that all the waiters, they do these games. So there's a stage, like there's a stage on the I didn't do it this last time because I was too much of a pussy, but I'm
scared of those too, man.
It was super cool because so they have these beer chugging contests, and it's a waiter against a patron. And
really?
They'll get like five of the patrons there. They say, "Who wants to be in the beer chugging contest?" And they'll come up and they'll put a Dos Equis, and they got Dos Equis, and so there's a table, and then like I remember watching it, and these waiters, they'll give you a run for your money, dude, like big time. They're walking around. This one waiter, he's walking around. He has the tray, and he's going, and there's this one guy left, and the guy who's like the MC is like, "Hey, we need a waiter over here." And he was walking, and he was like, "Oh, okay, I'll come over." He puts the tray down. He just sits there, and the same thing. They go 1, 2, 3. He grabs the beer, takes it up, and swirls it, and he's done, like totally done. And the other guy's still going. I'm like, and the guy like literally picked up his tray and walked away.
Oh,
he was like halfway to the kitchen when the other guy was still drinking. Like
the only place you'll see waiters just getting smashed with the patrons, man, is in Cabo, because that's kind of what they do. And don't get me wrong, man. I remember I was throwing people under the bus when we had that podcast with fucking Oscar, dude. I felt so bad.
Dude, that was mean.
Because I've been guilty of going to not just I'm talking about any establishment. I'll give you one in particular. Do you remember Tin Horn Flats in Burbank? It closed down now.
I don't think I ever went that far north.
Well, partying in the Valley is just a whole different story. And this is back maybe 10 years ago, a while back, maybe longer. I would say maybe, now that I think about it, maybe like 17, 18 years ago. Mm-hmm. But I would always tip well at the bar. And back then, of course, cash was king, like always. Yeah. But for some reason, when I would do that, it would like warm up the servers and bartenders, and I was kind of like, oh, this guy's cool. Like, hey, maybe I'm like, oh, so what do you drink? And they would tell me, I'm like, okay, here, get yourself one. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, go for it. So I was basically like coercing them to drink on the job. And before you know it, they're like, damn, dude, they would send me messages on MySpace. I remember this.
I remember MySpace.
They were like, oh, dude, I made so much money last night. Thanks for a great time. When are you coming back again? And I'm like, probably like 2 weeks, man, when I get paid.
Yeah, how much you got on my tab next time?
I was going to say, fuck, man. I was easily dropping like, just by myself, like $275. And then,
okay, you know what? here's a question. Not including like Cabo or Vegas or anything like that. Locally. Oh, I love that. Go back to that. That's so great.
What did he say?
Non-alcoholic beer drinking contest. Pee more and remember all your problems. I don't know if I don't want to. One of the best parts of getting shit-faced drunk is the next day and just being like, what did I do? And then it's like the game of text message, because you're like, I think I was with these people, and then you gotta throw the feeler text like, hey Edgar, man, that was fun last night, right? And then waiting for you to be like, bro, do you remember what you did? No, dude, tell me. And like, oh, then it turns, and then it's like, do I want to know what I did last night? Like,
I go to a point, going back to your question right now, I get to a point where I know I'm about to black out, and like I'll slow down, but then the craving comes back. Like I just want to taste it in my mouth.
But the blackout is already like taking a hold of you. Like,
and it's because like once the liquor comes in, man, that's what does me in. I've never been good with it. There's only one liquor that's ever been very friendly to me, and that's vodka.
Really?
And yeah, Tito's especially. Like when I first discovered Tito's, I'm like, fuck, I could literally sip it on the rocks. It's that good. Tequila, you've already seen what it does to me.
No, you don't want that. See, I'm like a liquor company's marketing dream, like a liquor company's marketing wet dream, because you
enjoy the taste of it, right?
Well, I'm really good if I take one, like a beer and a liquor, and that's it. If I start mixing,
shot in a beer, yeah.
Like, so if I'm drinking Tecates all night, I'm good. And if I'm drinking Jameson all night, Jameson and Tecate, I'm good. I can promote both at the same time. But you throw in like one tequila shot or one, something else. Dude, that train just went off the fucking tracks, bro. Like, it's bad. You don't want to see this shit.
That's how I always used to start my night. I used to buy little shots of Jaeger, the airplane bottles.
Yeah,
whatever.
I remember those.
And that was my shot for the night. And then I would just drink beer the rest of the night. Cool. And then Wednesday night started happening at 28 West, and that's where like, what the fuck? And then the you guys in general are like, oh, we're on a break, we're gonna take some shots. I'm like, okay, cool. And I forgot it was only $5. And I'm like, okay, so what are we doing? Oh, we're doing JMO.
Back to my question real quick that I wanted to ask.
Because
so we were talking about,
you're just saying that not Vegas, locally, you said.
Yeah, not Vegas, but locally. What's the biggest, or what's the most tab like that you've ran up, like just at a local bar? Like
Crazy Horse in West Covina.
Crazy Horse? Yes, that's the old place? Like Nationals, right? West Covina? Yeah. West Covina Mall?
What's up, Juanito?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, you know where it used to be where the West Covina Mall is, and it used to be Nationals. Yeah. It was a sports bar. Now it's a Porto's.
I played there one time. I can't remember why or with who.
Stay away from Jaeger. Of my life. Actually, I don't get hungover with Jaeger at all.
Really? Jägermeister's like NyQuil for me. Like I forget everything, and I wake up.
I love it. Myself. I love the taste of it.
Bad.
I don't know what it is. I love it. It's great. I like it chilled. Whiskey is what really fucks me up, man.
You know what? What's crazy?
I like the taste of it, but I know I'm like, okay, I gotta have just one, or there's a point of no return with this thing, dude.
It's crazy how different liquors hit people differently. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I mean, okay, here we go. I'm gonna ask you, which liquor makes you angry?
Would say probably it's a tie between Bacardi 151 and Bombay Sapphire Gin.
Oh, for me, tequila. If I drink tequila,
really?
I get confrontational.
There's something in it. It's the agave. I think
I get all Mexican. I just
you're like, I start shooting guns in the air.
No, like, I whenever I drink tequila, I just get I get mad about stuff. I like stuff
Really?
gets
That's
to me,
interesting.
even just like if I'm just walking, if I'm just hanging out and like somebody
Yeah.
walks by and I'm like, you fucking see that guy? That guy fucking walked by
You,
like
you
that?
know what?
Like
I'll tell you one thing. I can relate to that because there is one liquor that's commercial that does that to me, and that's Jack Daniels.
Jack gets
Jack
you
Daniels.
angry?
Jack does that. It gets me a little fired up. Yeah, I don't know I don't know
Okay.
what's in it.
Is
'Cause
it the
no other
specific is it the specific brand or is it like
just the
whiskey in
stock
general?
brand, the just that one in particular. I don't even this I read somewhere that Jack Daniels, the original bottle, just the regular one they sell on the shelves, that it's not like devout true whiskey. That's what I read. Because it doesn't taste like one. It's more like a what's it called? A bourbon. That's what I read. I could be wrong, but I don't know where. I must have read that somewhere. But I'm like, how this is 10? It says whiskey on the fucking front. Doesn't mean it is. That's what I read.
To me, for me, whiskey is my go-to. Whiskey is my fun. I like having a good time. That's my liquor that is kind of keeps me more just who I am and let's just have a good time. Granted, I mean, I started drinking like it was mostly Jack and Cokes when I was a kid because I was like not a kid. I was 21, but like I wasn't like 11. But like when I was drinking of legal drinking age, I
was like 10.
I would drink Jack and Cokes because I didn't have a lot of money and it was cheap. I could go to Ralph's and get that giant jug of Jack for like it was like $25 or something. Yeah, $30. And I would keep that and I would just have that and Coke. So Jack and Coke was my go-to back then.
Yeah.
And that's always, but as you get older, you become a little bit more seasoned. You like better quality whiskey. So, and then once I joined the long run, the TLR, the Eagles band, all those guys in that band, they're all Scotch drinkers. Like they like their Scotch. They
I know.
like
I think
Scotch.
Jim is a big Scotch guy.
Well, he used to be. He doesn't drink anymore. But Berto actually is the drummer.
Yes,
Berto. Actually, he's going to be quick little plug. He's going to be on my podcast tomorrow at 7.
That's right. Berto
he's not only is he a drummer for a couple different bands, but he has been a loan officer for something like 20 years or something like that. So we're going to be talking about how to buy a house, how to approve for a loan. We're going to do all that stuff tomorrow. But
you mean I can't just come in and give you money and you give me the house?
That's what I wanted to. That's what I want to do. But I guess not. We're going to find out tomorrow. But
what the fuck did Dan say? I can't drink tequila either. Kidnap enough teddy bears and see them together in the park on a Sunday. Yada yada yada. Anthony likes rum. Okay, see, I have a thing about rum too. It's like. Yes, and it's the Boricua on you, bro. That's what it is because Caribbean people love rum, dude. Yeah. It's kind of like I remember the first time I tried rum.
There's so many different kinds of rums, though. Like,
there's so many, dude. So many. And speak of the bar tab I ran up, it was at Crazy Horse. I was just doing Grey Goose. I was going through that Grey Goose phase with, all the homies used to come and get tables at Havana House in Alhambra.
Yeah.
And sell a bunch of drugs to everyone, obviously. And they followed me over to Crazy Horse, and it was a wild night. I mean, and I'm like, hey, let me treat you guys this time. So we went through like 4 bottles of Grey Goose, and then one of my buddies, Oscar, he had the genius idea. He goes, "Hey, Bledsoe," that's my nickname. He's like, "You want some rum?" Bledsoe, because Drew Bledsoe was my childhood idol. And everything was Drew Bledsoe for me in high school. Everything before Tom Brady. Everyone asks like, "Oh, you're just like a poser bandwagon like Patriots fan." I'm like, no, you have to remember, I adopted this team because of this player. Other than that, I was just a fan of just NFL football players in general. But he said he wants some gin. I'm not gin, some rum, and I'm like, rum. I don't know what he ordered. Mm-hmm. But it came in a really weird looking bottle. It looks like if you were sending a message in a bottle in the fucking ocean or whatever. Really, really fucking really raunchy, but it tasted so good. It just went straight down, and the rest is history, dude.
That's some scary shit.
All I know is that was the night that they say, "Oh yeah, we're going to Playboy Mansion."
Really?
And I'm like, yes, I don't know how it happened. And then one of my buddies from that crew, he's like, hey, we do what the old Arabic kings used to do. And what they did is they would present an idea under the influence, right? And they would present an idea sober, and then they would get fucked up on rum and present the same idea to see if it made sense.
Probably made more sense.
Yeah. So usually the objections come more when you're under the influence. You would think is when you're sober, you're kind of more conscious about the objections, but no, actually they come more when you're liquored up. So isn't that fucking crazy?
So now that we're talking about spice rum, like, I got a quick story.
It is. He named it Sailor Jerry's.
Sailor Jerry's.
Yeah,
that's the name of the place or the name of the rum?
No, the name of the rum. I remember that because it had something to do with a boat or some shit. But yeah, Sailor Jerry's. That's the one, dude. That's the one. Okay. But go ahead. What you were saying?
So do you remember when I lived in downtown LA?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we talked a little bit. Did we talk on a podcast about my buddy Joe Sanchez and how I got drunk at that? Was it on a podcast or was that just we told the story before? Do you remember that story?
You might have told Joe
when I got shmammered with him, and then we took the Rolls Royce and we went back to his place.
No,
oh, dude, this is so good. Story time. Okay, so my buddy Joe Sanchez, he passed away not too long ago. He was the owner of Classic Beer Distributing Company. And they would So this dude, he just, I lived in downtown LA in a high rise that was across the street from
the Cecil.
LA Live. The Cecil. It was called the Cecil. No, I didn't live there. But I remember I lived there during that time, and I remember walking by there a few times and tripping out on it. Like it was weird.
No, it's
So, anyways, that's a whole other story. Anyways, so Joe, he had a Rolls Royce Ghost and a driver, and who was a good friend of ours. And he lived across the street. He lived at the JW Marriott. So he had a condo up there. It was a 2-story condo in the on the 27th floor. Like it was like crazy. So anyways, there was one night he reached out to me and Marlene. He was like, "Hey, do you guys want to come out drinking?" We're like, "Yeah, sure." So literally across the street from our place is this this members only place called Cana, Cana, I guess. Cana Rum Club. Yeah. And it was like a hidden type speakeasy type place where you got to go in.
I know which one you're talking about.
The entrance is in it's in a parking structure. Anyway, but like you say members only and you think it's like really cool. Like, but literally the only way, like all you got to do is just sign up online and you're a member. Like it's not that hard. So we became members and we lived across the street. So we met him there. We get in there, we start drinking, and Joe, he's a great guy and he's a lot of fun. He's like, "Hey, if we're out here drinking, like I got a bunch of money, like I got it. Don't worry about it. Like let's just have fun." So we were drinking these like spice rum drinks and like the guys that were what are they called, the mixologists, like they were making some great drinks for us. Like even this one that we had to like light on fire, and then this other one that you had to like drink it off of like silver. It was the weirdest, weird stuff, right? So we're getting a little tipsy, and then all of a sudden, Marlene's like, "Well, I got to work tomorrow, so I'm going to go back." I said, "Cool. Well, I'll walk you back home because it's across the street, and then I'll come back out and drink, and I'll just walk back. Like you don't have to worry about me driving drunk." And so we were hanging out. I walked her home, and then I come back to Kanya, and we start drinking more. And we're getting pretty blitzed off of this rum. This rum is like, whoa, it's next level shit, bro. Like this really gets you there. So like it gets you there. And then we Joe's like, "Hey, let's go back to my place." I'm like, "Cool." Yeah. So we're going to walk. He's like, "We'll take the Rolls Royce." So we jump in the car and we drive 2 blocks, like just 2 blocks over, and we get in, we go up to his pad, and he's got this gorgeous pad. And by the time we get up there, liquor's sitting in, right? It's getting there. It's getting there. And we're hanging out, and I'm looking out his window. I'm like, Joe, I could see my house from your house. And we like hugging each other and jumping up and down. And like, it was ridiculous. Well, at this point in the story is usually when I stop, because after this, it gets great.
Wow.
But you know what? I feel like if I'm going to be on your podcast right now, we got to give people gold. So
yes.
So what happens after this is I asked Joe, his driver's name was Captain. His name is Dave Morgan. We call him Captain. And Captain he's a good friend. Love the guy. And so he's hanging out, and I said, "Hey, Cap, I gotta go. I gotta use the restroom real quick." And he goes, "Cool, yeah, go through the kitchen. It's over there, on the right hand side." So I walked through the kitchen, this huge kitchen, this refrigerator that was like bigger than my walk-in closet. Like I opened up the fridge just to look at it, and I'm like, "Wow, this is amazing." So I get into the bathroom, and when I get into the bathroom, he has a tub like Scarface. Like it was this massive tub, like. And I am one of those. When I get drunk or when I'm hungover or something like that, I gotta jump in the shower type guys. And so I mean I couldn't resist. so I get in this bathroom, and then not only that, but he's got this like really bitchin' like awesome robe, like really nice big white robe that says Joe Sanchez. So I take my clothes off.
This is great.
So I take my clothes off and I put his robe on, and I'm filling up the tub, and I'm filling up the tub, and like I'm like checking the water, and it's about halfway filled, and all of a sudden there's this knock on the door, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot I'm at Joe's house, and then the door opens and Captain's right there, and he's like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm taking a bath. And he's like, why are you wearing his robe? And I was like, because I'm taking a bath, bro. Like, what do you mean? Like, it didn't compute. I was so drunk on this spice rum that I was having such a great time. And I'm like, it was one of those, I was just living minute to minute. I see a tub, I got to jump in. So he goes, dude, you need to put your clothes on, dude. I got to get you out of here before Joe sees you. If Joe sees you, like, he's going to be burned out. And I'm like, oh man, I don't want to burn out Joe. Now I feel bad. I'm like, I didn't want to, I was just going with the flow of things. So, I put my clothes on, I get out, I'm walking out, and Joe's passed out. And I was like, cool. So I was like, bro, I can't walk home. I can't even walk out of here. And he goes, don't worry, I'll take you home. So Dave drives me home in the Rolls Royce 2 blocks away. Right. And this is the cool thing. My apartment, they had like one of those big the front doors that open, and they had the front desk, and it had security, and the front desk that was right there. And like, I really liked that place. It was really cool. And so this Rolls Royce pulls up in front, and all of a sudden the security opens up the door, and they're looking, and then I get out of the back seat, and I'm stumbling up there. And it was just, and like, this, and I know the security, and I know the front desk, and I know I'm a outgoing guy. So I'm like, what's up? And they're like, where you come from? I was like, man, I was partying. I was up in that building. So then I get upstairs. Marlene is like, what the fuck are you doing? And like, she throws me in the tub and turns on the shower, and I fall asleep in my clothes. And that is, how I lived most of my 20s. But, so then the next day, which was a Wednesday, we had a gig. And we had a gig in downtown LA at Dames and Games. We had a residency there, and we played there every Wednesday. I remember. And Joe used to always come to that. So I'm at the gig, and the Rolls Royce shows up, and Dave, Captain gets out, Joe gets out, and, they come inside, and I'm like, oh shit. Like, I hope he's not mad at me. Like, I was so embarrassed. Like, I was like, oh, I can't believe I did this. I'm so sorry. So I wanted to just, I didn't want to let any time go by. I just wanted, knock it out. So I go right up to Joe, and I'm like, bro, I said, hey man, I just want to let you know, man, I had so much fun last night. I'm really sorry if I did anything or said anything like at your crib. And he was like, you came to my crib?
What?
And I'm like, Yeah, dude, we went to your crib and like we were drinking and partying, and he was like, "Man, I was so fucked up last night. I don't remember, bro." And I'm like, "All right, cool." And he's like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry if I said anything."
You're like, don't tell him about the rope. Don't tell him about the rope. Don't tell him.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, don't tell him about the tub. Don't tell him I tried to take a bath.
You know what? Now that you bring up the Rolls Royce, I remember that Rolls Royce in the parking lot at Dames and Games.
Yep, that white Rolls Royce Ghost. That thing was gorgeous. That thing was amazing.
Yes. And I'm like, that can't belong to one of the dancers. No way. No way. It's a rental.
Anyways, that whole story was to let everybody know that spice rum is no joke.
No, it's not. Look at Anthony with his Puerto Rican ass. He's like, man, I gotta go out and get some rum. No, it's so crazy because, for example, when was it? I'll give you a really, really, really awesome story. It was, I believe, it was the notorious 2006, early 2006 year in Alhambra, Havana House, when you guys used to play there twice a week. Oh, Brett said, pussy. Pussy. It was a Sunday. Oh my God, Brett said, get the Kraken. Get the Kraken. You guys were on a break. I showed up, this time solo. That's when I was driving my notorious 1998 Ford Contour with the bullet, the bullet hole on the side of the,
keeping it real,
passenger. And you took me over with our friend Hector Flaco, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna have this thing called a Diablo shot." I'm like, "What the fuck is a Diablo shot?" And old bartender Yasmin, she's like, "Here," and she's like, "You want extra tapatio in it?" I'm like, "What the fuck is tapatio in it?" And all I felt was this asshole's fucking he pulls my head back and he shoves it in my throat, and I'm like, I just got there. I haven't even had a drink.
Who's that?
Hector Flaco. And he's telling me in his little Native American Chicano voice, all you have to do is drink it and you'll be fine. And I'm like, no. And all I felt was just fire going down my throat. And I'm like, what the fuck is this, dude? And I'm thinking in my head, should I just regurgitate it or just take it? And then I'm like, no, that's when I was drinking Hefeweizen exclusively. Like I was just obsessed with it for some fucking reason. And I got a hef and I just downed it, dude. Boom. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, fuck. And then I remember, who was it? Jenner, bartender Jenner. She's like, you okay? And I'm like, whatever the fuck that was. She goes, they basically gave you gasoline with fucking hot sauce. And I was like, God damn, dude. After that, I have never seen you play so accurately and amazing. You were on key. I'm like, what's in this stuff? And then I got up and sang, I think it was, you're like, oh, we're going to jam out on a Bush song. I'm like, you guys never played Bush. What? Yeah. And
you were watching the wrong band, dude.
No. And then you started playing the bass line to Come Down. Like, dude. I'm like, oh, you guys know this song? I'm like, cool. And it was like just perfect. And everyone was just all eyes this way. And I'm like, why are my senses so enhanced? This is fucking crazy. And I could even see the security guards like coming in, like kind of checking it out. And then boom, you guys go on a break after the notorious Black Magic Woman fucking drum solo. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, hey, you want another one? And I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Let's have another one.
Wait, I said this?
This time, yes, you said it. And I don't know where Flaco was out chasing skirts somewhere, but you're like, I never forget, you told me like, oh, this is great because I feel buzzed, but I don't feel like I'm out of control. And I'm like, yeah, me too. I don't know what's in this stuff. Yasmin had ran out of tapatio. She was going to go in the back to get some more, but I'm like, no. I go, just use whatever else you have. She put Tabasco in it. That's what did it. Never again. And you were the same. You're like,
so do you think that the Diablo shot with Tabasco is the equivalent to the pills that you take in Limitless?
Probably.
Like colors change and all of a sudden you become smart.
I don't know what's in that stuff, but it's pretty badass, but I wouldn't take it on a daily or on a weekly either. It's a bad influence. How many times have we ended up on the floor? Huh? Bucket naked?
We're not going there, dude. It's been.
We got to run it back with Brett, man. Brett was really cool, man. It's funny because, I'll be honest with you, man. I don't have that many white friends, bro. You're like one of like three. And then when I meet new white folks, I'm just like, fuck, man. Like I need to diversify, man.
So I'm the token white friend?
Actually, no. You know who my token white friend is? You probably know him. His name is Keith Horner. He's Nicole Horner's brother-in-law. Back in the day from Firehouse Grill and Steve's Barbecue. Yeah. And Jeff, her husband, was also the token white guy at our high school. Cool fucking people, man. But it's funny how you grow up in this environment where it's, we're working class people. We're, middle class. We're not, the spoiled brats or the fresas, I like to call them, because believe it or not, even in like Latino and Mexican culture, there's a lot of those spoiled asses that come in high rolling. You've seen them, man. They just throw money around like if you're fucking a court jester and shit like that. And it's a class thing, man. Now that I think about it, and I'm like, as much money as you want to make, there's always these motherfuckers that come in and like Joe Sanchez, man. That motherfucker was a high rolling ass, dude. Like, but
such a cool dude, man.
He was a fucking amazing guy. But then you get the young ones, man, like the 22, 23, look at Brett. He said, I feel privileged. What privilege? He said, let's get on the floor bucket naked. Come on. But nonetheless, man, I think that, for example, partying at bars, different bars, like you have different patrons, different staff. Mm-hmm. I gotta give you this though, man. Huntington Beach is fucking awesome to party at, dude. Yeah. By far, one of we went to Pasea right there, the little
that's beautiful
kind of staycation. Yep. Holy shit, bro! I'm looking at my wife going, we need to come back here. And at night when the rooftop bar is open, and it speaking of like uncertainty and whatnot, dude. You ever want to feel certain that if things are well ventilated and ran fucking to a T, it's that place. They got it locked down, dude, to the point where it doesn't even feel uncomfortable. It feels like, okay, they're doing this for your.
Wait, did you go to
your sake?
You went to Pasea, but you stayed at the hotel. And you went to the.
No, I didn't stay there. I just went there for the day to go meet up with family and enjoy.
How does that work? Because I've never actually done that. Can you do you have to pay to get into the pool? Is it like Vegas where you got to pay $20 to get in or something?
They'll let you in as a guest as long as you abide by whatever guidelines they got going on. And the bar is right there. You can actually go inside the lobby and order a drink.
But you had somebody that was staying there.
Yeah, and they let us into the pool.
So, okay.
What did Brett said? Alex tried to beat some girl's ass at Pasea. I had to hold her back. Oh yeah. she like
me and Marlene had one of our because right there at Pasea is right next to. There's a lot of stuff. What is it called? Pacific City.
Yeah, and then they have like a little shopping mall right there too. It's pretty badass.
So it's called Pacific City, and it's just south of the of Main Street, and and the pier, and they have all kinds of shops there and stuff like that, and a lot of restaurants and whatnot. But there's a couple places that are right up on PCH. One of them is called, I think it's called Tandem. Or Tatum.
I've seen Tatum. Yeah, it starts with a T, whatever. But I've never been there before.
It's not Tandem.
I heard
it's something like that. Look it up on Google or something. It's called like Tatum. Tatum. Samsonite. Just kidding.
We were way.
I was way off. No, it's called like Tatum or Tantum or Tantalum or. I don't know, something like that.
I think it's called it is Tatum actually.
Tatum?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
well,
so.
we had if I'm not mistaken, it was a few years ago. Me and Marlene celebrated our one of our anniversaries there. Our anniversary is November 22nd. And
oh nice.
We celebrated one of our anniversaries there, and we invited a few people out and just hung out. And it was really cool because same type of thing. It's like second level. They got fire pits outside. It's underneath the stars. You know, here in Southern California, we've got fairly decent weather. I think that's one of the main reasons why people stay. So it's very rare that it actually rains out here. So even in December, it might have been a bit chilly out, but you throw a sweater on and you're good. And then you've got the ocean.
You can even keep your shorts on and then just wear a sweater and you're good.
That was a lot of fun. I really liked that place. I didn't have to hold Marlene back from beating up any bitches. So it felt like it was a lot safer than Paseo, I think. Just kidding.
Now, do you remember your first time partying in Huntington Beach? Because I do.
Partying or living there?
Yeah, like actually, well, not living there, but actually going there and actually going, oh shit, like, okay, this place is pretty cool. And my first time was at Sharky's. No, it was at Sharky's.
At Sharky's?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Back in the day, like back in no, I think this is even before we even met. Yeah, because if we would have gone with destruction, bro. Destruction. Well, it ended up on the flow.
Yes.
With Brett.
So you went to Sharky's. That's downstairs on the north side of the street.
Yeah.
I think I want to say the first time that I'm sure I went there plenty of times, but the first time that I played out there and like hung out, we played at Hurricanes, which was like upstairs on the other side. And
Hurricanes is dope too, though.
It was really cool back then. Yeah. We played there. We had a residency for a while. That was fun. I didn't live out there at the time. And then and it just so happens that as soon as we moved out to Huntington Beach, we lost the residency. And I'm like, well, that's like, fuck. But like, here's one thing about Huntington Beach. If for anybody that is thinking about coming down here, it's definitely a lot more open. Let's just face it. There's a lot more conservatives out here, and there's a lot of it's unfortunate
but not conservatives like how people paint them out to be like in the South, for example. These are just more. I can have a conversation with them, which is awesome because I meet them at the bars and it's cool. Like they're not the dickheads that you would expect them to be.
Well, there are some dickheads. I mean, let's face it. But anywhere you go, you're going to find dickheads, and it's just a different level of dickhead. Totally. So, and that's. I mean, here's the thing. I work in Whittier. There's dickheads out there, just a different level of dickhead. Exactly. So there's a lot of that. Here we go.
What Brett said. So, do I have to do some triple X shit to hang out with the band, or can I sell my wife? Which band kicks so much ass?
I love my neighbors. They're awesome. But if you're gonna come out, I know that Huntington Beach kind of gets a bad rap right now, especially with everything that's being posted on social media. Now,
and that shouldn't be the case, man. Just
a heads up to everyone: if you're judging Huntington Beach off of what you're seeing on social media, then you're not really getting the full picture. Bottom line.
Huntington Beach has been there for a long fucking time, and it's always a good time. Just ignore the noise, man. And
trust me, there's times that I'll drive down PCH and go to Main Street to go, have a few beers or go hang out at a bar and stuff. And there's all kinds of stuff going on the streets. You never know. Each day there's something different, and there's protests for this and protests for that and stuff, and it happens. Huntington Beach is a big, it's a big name, so there's a lot of stuff going on there. But we try to do our best to, especially living down here for so long, we've realized which venues are the local spots, and which venues are the the touristy spots. And totally. I'm not going to say which one's which on here because I like going to my my local spots because they're local because you mostly just locals go there and it's very chill.
That's the cool part, man. Yeah. And for me, it's like I'm very overprotective of my spots too. That's why, like, when people from out of town try to kind of come in, like, for example, I'll never forgive myself for this, but I used to love going to the Gold Room back in the day on Silver Lake Boulevard, Sunset, like that area, not Silver Lake, Echo Park, and then Sunset's right in the corner, right there by the the Avenue of the Athletes. That's what it's called.
I've never been there.
And ever since I told people about it, it just became so overpopulated. And that's like an exclusive like Dodger kind of game day hangout. And now like it's just, I mean, now with them being closed or whatnot and slowly but surely opening back up, I hope it kind of alleviates that kind of like, because it's a small fucking dive bar and you don't need like 500 people going in there. Yes, like those are the best. Yes. Witt's House, that's the best Huntington Beach hangout. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We got all the good Wi-Fi.
But let's see. We reached an hour and 25 minutes. It's time for the thought-provoking question of the evening.
All right, let's do this.
All right, let's see. So, okay, what is the one thing you'd be really disappointed if you never get to experience? Ooh.
If you never get to experience.
You want to go first on this one?
No, give me a second. This is the first time I play.
What is the one thing you'd be really disappointed to never get to experience, basically?
I could be so dirty right now, but I'm not going to do that. I really wish I could have sex someday.
I like to do the sex.
I like to do the sex. I like you.
I like to do the sex.
I like a sex.
I like it.
It's nice.
Think about this one.
That's interesting.
Mine would be skydiving because I haven't done it.
Really? You've never gone?
Yeah.
Really?
No,
and I say that like I've gone a million times. I've never gone either, but
it's like Homer when he meets that coworker. He's like, "You've been to outer space?" Yes. You've never been?
You've never been? Yeah, me neither. It's funny. That was always on my list too. And my parents they wouldn't let me go. And then like riding motorcycles.
Honestly, riding motorcycles. I've never ridden a motorcycle either.
Really?
Never.
All right. Well, I think you should hit up Brett. Brett, can he jump on the back of your bike and can he hold on to you ever so gently?
Like this?
Just like, but you have to have that half smile.
With the fingers like this or like this.
Oh my gosh, I would pay to see and take a picture of that. That would be
that's a portrait, dude.
That would be like your
hold me tight.
That would be your background for your podcast, like your intro.
Oh man.
Riding bikes through the Southeast Asia.
He said grip it low. Wow. Now we're talking.
I remember being a kid and I like in freshman year, and I remember wanting to go skydiving, and my parents were like, no. Yeah. And all my friends were a little bit older, so they were getting ready to go.
His neck.
But I was like, I wanted to go skydiving, and it was such a big thing on my list. And I had a few big things on my list. I wanted to go skydiving, which I ended up never doing. I really wanted to run a marathon, and I didn't do it for a long time. And then when I did jump into it, I jumped right into it. And then I ran I think 6 marathons, and that was.
You did do 6. No, it's cool, Brett. Like, you can't smell my neck.
Yeah. And
6 marathons. I remember you were doing like the 4K run and.
No, I was doing
some other shit.
I did the 10K runs. I did like 1 or 2 of those, and I did the half marathons, and then I did a bunch of half marathons, which were fun.
Did you end up going to the LA marathon eventually, or no?
What's that?
You didn't do the LA marathon, huh?
That was actually my first marathon I ever did. Oh my gosh, dude. So it sucks because like me and Marlene, like we always wanted to run a marathon, and we never built up the courage to just apply, because it was like $160 each to do it, and we were like, there was always a reason. And then finally, I don't know how we ended up doing it, but we figured it out, and we just said, you know what, hey, fuck it, and we ordered it, and we're like, okay, we ordered it, and now it's going down. Like, we just spent a little over $300 for both of us to run this marathon, and we're going to do it, and hey, if we finish first, if we finish last, if we walk or crawl, it doesn't matter. We're just going to do it.
Wow.
But here's the weirdest fucking part. I was a smoker back then, big time. I was smoking like a pack a day.
Yes.
And I had this little tiny car called a Veloster. It was a Hyundai Veloster. It was like a 3-door. Shut the fuck up, dude. It was a good car, and it was a 3-door, and I got like 30 something miles to the gallon, so it was amazing. And I was playing, and it was the Saturday night, the Saturday night before the race. We had a gig at Zendeja's, and
oh shit,
yeah, it was St. Patrick's Day, so everybody's getting trashed. I had a couple beers, like I'm not gonna lie, I had a couple beers, and I was smoking like a chimney, and then I stopped drinking like around 11 p.m. and we finished out the night. It was 2:00 in the morning. I drove home to Huntington Beach. I changed my clothes. I picked up my wife. We drove to Santa Monica Pier, where we parked my incredible, awesome Hyundai Veloster. And then we took the tram that took us to Dodger Stadium. And we get to Dodger Stadium. They drop us off. It's about 4:35 in the morning, something like that. I don't know. It was early, and I had no sleep. I had zero sleep. I haven't slept yet.
Fuck.
But here's the thing. We parked at the beach. We parked at the finish line, and I burned my bridges. Like, so we got there, and I'm like, all right, so we're at the starting line. Like, the only way we're going to get there is by making this happen. It was like one of those. So it was like we tried to find a tent where I could like lay down, and Marlene was like I was like laying my head in her lap trying to sleep, and it wasn't happening. I was like, babe, this is just not happening. We're it was freezing cold. It was bone chilling cold. It was the year after that it rained crazy on everyone. So if anybody knows what year that the LA Marathon, that it rained like profusely on everyone, like during the marathon, it was the year after that. And we set out and we started running, and we had so much fun, dude. Like, we stopped off at every mile. We were taking pictures. We were running down Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard and Rodeo Drive and this, and we were just taking pictures and doing shit. And like, we stopped off at a liquor store, and like as we were running, because I had my wallet with me, so we stopped off and got some Gatorades, and we get to the end, and we're like, holy shit, we fucking finished. Like, how amazing is that? Like, it was the most, like, no bullshit, dude. That was an amazing feeling. And if anybody's out there right now thinking about doing a marathon and you don't feel like you can do it, fucking do it. Because even if you walk it, you'll make it. And it's the most incredible feeling of accomplishment. Like, when you get done, it's just fucking awesome. And we crossed that finish line, and I was like, holy shit. And they took us a picture, and they gave us a medal, and they were like, then the best thing is when you cross the finish line, you get all this free shit. They're like, oh, you want free, muscle milk, and you want free, granola bars, and free this, and you want a banana and an orange and fucking all this shit. Like, I had like a plethora of fruit, and and then we're walking by, and then they take your picture, and then we were like, cool, okay, we're done. But we didn't realize that we parked 2 miles away from where the finish line was.
No.
So we actually, our marathon was 28 miles, not 26
including those
miles.
2 extra miles.
So we had to walk to the car, and like, by the time you're done with that, oh my God, man, that was brutal. It was brutal because we didn't train at all.
Really?
We thought we were all badass, and we didn't train. We're like, I ran 3 miles in the last couple of months. Like, I'm cool. We can make this happen. It was crap. And
if you don't train, obviously, that's not gonna work out.
I was like, fucking mind over matter, bro. Let's do this.
You're like, just like the Tara Umaras.
It was fun though.
In southern Mexico.
So back to your question about doing, something. What was it? What is the one thing you'd be really disappointed if you never get to experience? I would say that race that I did, that first one,
really,
the first race, the first LA Marathon. I mean, the odds were ridiculously stacked against me, and if I can say anything, it tested my will, it tested my endurance.
I
It tested
bet.
my mental endurance, because here's the thing: you can train for 15 miles, you can train for 20 miles, but don't train for over 20, because those last like 5 miles, that's all in your head.
Yeah.
It's all in your head, and man, you really learn something about you. And when you cross that finish line, it's just such an amazing feeling. So, I mean, for me, not being a parent and not knowing, the fulfillment of being a father, I'd say the next best thing for me, anyways, right now in this moment is finishing that marathon was pretty incredible. So I wouldn't want to. I would be disappointed if I didn't experience that. So
Wow. Okay. What's a Spartan race? That's interesting.
it's like a Spartan race is like like an obstacle race. Like you heard like the Tough Mudder. It's like similar to that, where it's
Okay.
similar to that, where there's like obstacles and I've done a few of the Gladiator. Have you heard that? The Gladiator Rock and Runs, Gladiator Rock and Runs. It's like a obstacle course that was put on by. Do you remember Nitro from American Gladiators?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he puts it on. Super cool dude, man. Super cool guy. He puts on those. I've done a few of those ones, but I've wanted to do the Spartan ones. I'm curious if they're like. I'm sure
I know they still. I'm pretty sure they're going to start having them again. But I've seen some crazy pictures of I guess that's what it was. But I've also seen what is this thing that they do with it's like it's kind of like I guess obstacle course ish type of not a contest. I don't even know how to explain it, but it involves tactical like shooting as well, and you have to beat the time each time. I don't know exactly what it's called, but that's pretty badass. Like you shoot at targets, and it's best time wins, and yeah, it's pretty badass. Like, all right, well, if you want to be John Wick for the day.
What is your the one thing that you would be disappointed if you didn't if you never experienced it?
Well, besides skydiving, I would probably say going to another country aside from Mexico. And another country meaning Canada.
Where'd you go?
Germany. Here's the thing: the first place I would want to go visit for sure, like without a doubt, would be Spain.
Wait a minute. Okay, maybe I'm misreading this whole thing. Have you been to another country besides?
Only Mexico.
So you're saying what would you
what would you be? Afghanistan was nice.
Oh my God. So you're okay. I'm misinterpreting the question. So I thought it was something that we experienced that what would we, be disappointed if we never experienced it?
Yeah, I've never experienced. I'd be really disappointed if I never got to experience another country.
But you've never gone to another country, so how can you be disappointed in it if you don't even know what the experience feels like?
That's the thing. I mean, I don't want to be disappointed not knowing.
Well, what happened? Well, see, your rhymes make no sense.
I want to not. I identify as a person of travelage. I guess, is that even a word? No, I mean, okay. Well, let me paraphrase that. So the one thing.
Hold on a second. Let's rephrase this question.
Okay.
So the question should be, okay, what is the one thing that you'd be really disappointed if you never get to experience?
So that for me, it would be going to another country. For example, I'll use Spain, for example, right?
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I'll use Germany better, actually.
Okay.
They call me the Wonder. Yeah, the Wonder. I would love to go to Oktoberfest in Germany.
Wow.
I'd be really disappointed to never get to experience that. I've done Oktoberfest at fucking Torrance, but that don't count. I'm talking about like going to Germany, going to Frankfurt, going to Hamburg.
Are you saying there's something that we want to do that hopefully we can experience that?
Exactly. And another thing too is this is kind of fucking dangerous, but I'd want to go to Spain to experience it, and I'd be really disappointed to not get
Oh,
to
I already know
experience
what
the
you're
running of
saying.
the bulls. The running of the
Yeah.
fucking bulls. Yeah, and it's like,
Hey, dude, you fuck with the bulls, you get the horns, bro.
no, I've seen some terrifying shit. Anthony says I was supposed to go to Dublin this past August with my bro, but obviously that didn't happen. I would still love to go and wouldn't be disappointed if I did. And that's the thing, dude. Going to the Guinness brew, that would be awesome because everyone who's gone there to the company where they actually make the Guinness has not said a one bad thing about that experience. I'm just like, God damn, dude. Okay, that's another one too. So Brett said, let's go to the fatherland, skydive, ride motorcycles, and run a marathon all at the same time in one day. Fuck.
Wow. I'm down.
Run the marathon barefoot.
I ain't Kenyan.
Barefoot, bro. Nah, I'm not doing that.
I can't.
Like,
do
you
that.
want to run for fun? No.
Nah,
Anyway,
it was fun.
that's the thought-provoking question of the podcast. I think we can end on that note. But what I want to do is still shamelessly promote the 5 Foot Viking podcast, only because it's more PG, I guess, than mine.
I try to keep it PG.
Yeah, like it's PG-13.
Here's the thing, though. I still, like, when I upload it onto Anchor and when I upload it to YouTube, I still put the explicit because I might drop an F-bomb here and there, and I don't want to get it flagged or taken down because I drop one F-bomb and all of a sudden they're like, oh, holy shit balls.
Don't be like me and get a notice from YouTube saying that you can't be.
You got taken down,
COVID-19. Bro. I got canceled, bro, for
That's
the night.
crazy.
I was like, damn. What's funny is that broadcast is still on Facebook, but I got removed from YouTube, which I find that interesting.
Well, I mean, let's not tell more people about that.
No, exactly. I was like, fuck, man. How fucking crazy is that? How you can't express somebody else's opinion on an actual real subject.
It's the weirdest shit, man. I mean,
and I'm like, who the
I don't want to get too crazy, but we definitely live in a really interesting time right now. And I say interesting in the loosest sense, because it's weird right now that we have to. I am in a communications class online right now, and we were having this conversation. We were having a conversation, and it's online because so the discussions are all, I don't know who the hell I'm talking to, and people are chiming in, and they don't know who they're talking to, and I don't have a profile picture. I just have just the whatever blank thing, and then it says Whitney,
the avatar,
because my real name is Whitney, so it just says Whitney, and I've had people say, girl, you're doing good. Go ahead, girl. I can't believe you're a musician, and I'm like. If you only saw me,
you're like, hi, my name's Whitney.
but one of the what did you say?
Oh, Anthony's asking what I said. I was reading an article about the LAUSD lawsuit for the quote unquote mandated vaccines, which are not mandated. But I read verbatim an internet article, but what I didn't realize, and I realized this later, but it was a very alt-right a website in disguise. So that's what fucking flagged it.
Well, what's crazy too is what happened?
Brett said he'll still fuck you.
I appreciate that, and everything. Definitely.
Cancel culture does run rampant right now.
That's one of the hardest things right now, and that's what we were talking about in my class, because they were talking about I can't remember, about being truthful or I don't know, some shit I was lying about, but they were saying how the difficult part right now is that people want to they want to tell stories, they want to say things about themselves, but because of the cancel culture that we live in right now, people are it's not that they're lying, but it's that they're just not willing to disclose because here's the thing, like with me, prime example. I'm a musician. I'm on stage all the time. And even before this whole cancel culture, I've always said I never talk politics, I never talk religion, and I never talk football on the microphone. When I'm on a stage,
Right.
I don't do that. I'm not Bono. I'm not U2. I'm not trying to be, this political dude. I'm not Rage Against the Machine. That's not who I am.
Right.
I'm up there playing music for people. But once I start talking about a political ideology or a religion or a football team, I just alienated half of my crowd, which that's not my job. My job is to be up there and entertain and have fun and play music.
Right.
So that's not my job to jump up there and talk about, Biden this or Trump that. It's not my job. And my personal feelings are, I keep them with myself and I keep them with my close friends. Me and you have had great conversations off camera. Great conversations about left and right. And we've agreed on stuff and we've disagreed on stuff. And we've had good conversations. And the fact that both of us are willing to listen to each other as far as like, well, what about this idea? Well, what about that idea? And there's times that you have changed my mind and there's times that I've changed your mind, which I think is the beauty of conversation, the beauty of
that's called democracy.
But the problem is right now, too many people are afraid to open up their mouths because, and I'm one of them. And the reason why is because my job is dominantly based in promoting myself on social media. So if I say one thing that pisses off the wrong chick or the wrong dude or the wrong political person or the wrong whoever, if I say one thing, my whole career can literally be canceled right now. Oh, and that's a scary time that we live in right now.
Absolutely.
So, that's
with my deal though, and this is I guess I'm thankful for this because I attract a plethora of different people who believe in things, and it's weird because I'm not very heavy on one pendulum. I like to hear everything. I like to fancy everything. And I think I'm pretty sure I opened up the floodgates when I started, fancying conspiracy theories about UFOs.
I love that shit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And when that happened, everyone started like, oh, you got to check this out. Yeah. And then, of course, I get people who send me some disinformation and stuff like that, but I'll read it anyway just to kind of say, okay, well, why does this person? It turns into a sociology project for me. Like, why does this person believe this? Let me see why, and I can understand why. And then there's this new thing on HBO Max called what is Q? I think Who is Q? I saw the trailer and I'm interested in watching it. And now that's the thing is I want to learn how people form a confirmation bias, which you and I have talked about several times. And confirmation bias is really dangerous, man. Very dangerous because it doesn't promote free thinking. As Anthony just took the words out of my conversation of free thinking, our lost arts. Absolutely. Yep. And what did Brett said? I've been probed. Ask Alex. and that's that for me. And it's like, dude, free thought, man. The free thought, free thinking. That's how you grow. I know this because entrepreneurs have told me, the way I became successful was I didn't listen to just one side of the story. I diversified my portfolio. They say stuff like that. I made sure what's that one thing that they all say? I affirmed what I wanted for the day. I affirmed what I wanted for the hour. And I'm just like, what the fuck? This is all bizarre shit. But whole
being open-minded, and I think right now we live in a world where a lot of people are not okay with people not agreeing with them. And that's
right. Exactly.
I've always been okay with people not agreeing with me. Hey, listen, me and you, we have great conversations because there's times when me and you disagree on all kinds of shit. And it's like, it's all good.
And it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen.
But the only way that we can get past that is by having the conversation. And I think that's the biggest problem right now. There's a lot of people don't want to have the conversation because they're too afraid of getting canceled, and I think that's also because a lot of people's careers have been transformed from a what's it called? What's the term? Brick and mortar, like building
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
this virtual world. So now, like, so
Yeah.
many people have had this. Now they have careers that are based in social media and in
Yeah.
being online. And now it feels like you're walking around on eggshells on stuff. On so it's
That's beautifully explained. Mutual agreement of disagreement. Absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I have this argument with a couple of friends of mine how, because I'm not a big Kiss fan, the band Kiss. I'm just not. And it's not because I dislike the members. I'm like, well, the music's good. I go, but I prefer, like, in that era, I'm like, I prefer like Black Sabbath, for example. I prefer
not your taste. It's all good.
Yeah,
no big
it's
deal.
like, so just because I don't like it doesn't mean I'm just gonna completely disregard it. I'm like, I actually listened to almost every single Kiss album. I'm like, okay, I made my own verdict. I'm like, okay, they're good. I like them. I'm like, I don't love them, but there's people that, they're extreme with it. Like, oh, how could you not like Kiss? And
there's
I'm like,
people right now
that's where the problem
that are
is.
not where you are. And there's people on both sides of it that are not where you are. So there's people that won't take the time to listen to it because they're so closed off that they're like, I've already made up my mind about Kiss. I'm closed off. I'm not open-minded. I'm just like, no, I already have my opinion and I'm done. But then there's also people that don't care about it. There's also people that are willing. So it's a rough time right now.
And
there's people that don't even want to listen to it because they're like, how is that going to make me look in this social media forum?
Right.
There's we live in a weird time.
Look what happened to me. It backfired because a personal family member of mine asked me a very legitimate question, and he asked me to pull something up on the live stream just to get it taken down by the YouTube police. And it's like, even him, he's like, we don't agree on some of the stuff that's going on, but that's okay because that's the discussions I like to have with him.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'll drink the Kool-Aid, obviously. I mean, that's my opinion, like what he believes in.
You love Kool-Aid, bro.
Yeah. I love the Kool-Aid without the sugar. I like it without the sugar. I just love the food coloring. That's it.
You know what though? On the real,
that's
like like that whole situation. What do you think would be the way that we can get past this? This whole, like we were talking about earlier, this whole cancel culture and this whole, because I think that cancel culture is definitely affecting not the truthfulness of people, but the willingness to expose themselves. I think a lot of people now have their guards up when it comes to social media, where back in the MySpace days, like from us, when social media was first emerging, we were aching to throw our dirty laundry up on social media because it was fun. It was brand new, and now that we're seeing this cancel culture, and people are definitely being a lot more guarded now with what they share. I mean, shoot, I don't even put my birthday up on Facebook anymore. Like, there's so many things that I'm like,
the date.
I don't put anything. Like, I don't
put the year.
It's crazy. Like, I don't even put the date. I don't even put my birthday at all. I don't even want it up there.
Mean nothing to me. You ain't gonna give me no birthday.
I don't put that up on there. There's, I've been
here's ultimately, to answer your question though, is I submitted an appeal to YouTube, and I told them, hey, I read something verbatim that I did not know was disguised as a far right, alt right, whatever you want to call it, website. Don't shoot the messenger. I was just reading something verbatim, and look, the context of the actual article was pretty legit. I mean, they were just addressing what is actually going on. But if it's okay, first and foremost, here's what I don't understand. If YouTube is owned by Google, I used the Google search engine to find that result, right? Okay, if you're actually policing some of this stuff that doesn't belong on your search engine results, then why did it pop up? Like, why did it allow me to click on it if you're policing it that much? So
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's kind of like it's a total crapshoot, dude. And then what? I got to walk on eggshells when I'm, Google searching on their engine
Right. Well,
to
you know
not
what?
get flagged.
Here's a good thing. Here's a good idea.
no, I mean, look, Brett brings up a good point, but you can still get Mein Kampf, dude.
Mhm.
The Adolf Hitler manifesto.
You can still get that.
That's fucking crazy. Yeah. That's bizarre to me, man.
Well, do you think that? I mean, I don't want to. We're gonna go way past your time, but here's just because you bring up a good point, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
do you think that the government or the people or someone do you think that we need to police social media, not really social media, but police media? And it's because, like you said, dude, you just Googled something and something came up and you just jumped into it. Now, and this is a conversation that me and you have had plenty of times where if you watch a video on Facebook, let's say you watch the video on Facebook, it goes up today, and in the next 3 days, it goes fucking viral, and everyone's looking at it, and it says that, Edgar Hernandez is a piece of shit, and everyone believes it, and it's like, oh my God, this is amazing, this is ridiculous, whatever, and then 3 days later, they find out, oh crap, Edgar Hernandez is not a piece of shit, so we're going to retract this, and our bad. But the damage is done. So for 3 days, it went viral that Edgar Hernandez is a piece of shit. You probably lost your job. Your wife got all pissed off and left you and took the kid. Now you got no home. You got no family. You got no nothing. She wiped out your accounts. All of a sudden, now she's like, you know what? You're a piece of shit. I fucking found out on Facebook. I can't believe that I married you. Like all this stuff, right? Your life went to shit in 3 days of this video going viral.
3 fucking days.
And then
that's crazy.
When they realize that they fucked up and they retract the video, what happens to you? Your life is still fucked up. The damage was already done. So me and you have talked about this scenario in multiple situations. So how do we fix that problem? Do we hold the media sources accountable? Because if I post a video and it gets shared and shared and shared and shared and shared, who gets held accountable? Me who posted it?
It's like it's like clearing a name with law enforcement, for example. You got to get your name cleared. That's bottom line what it is. I mean, obviously, if there's wrongdoing involved, then you're held accountable for the wrongdoing you did. Let the punishment fit the crime. Cool, whatever. However, if it's on them, if it's on the media's end, yes, the media should be held accountable.
But now if I go into anybody's house and they're watching Fox or CNN, I just walk out because it doesn't matter which one they're watching. They're both skewed ridiculously this 100%. Way. So for
they have the same overlord.
Yeah. So you watch one, you can be literally watching the same about the same story. The exact same story, but if you're watching it on this network, it's skewed this way, and if you're watching it on this network, it's skewed that way. So my question is, the people who are watching these different networks, they're being influenced different ways.
They're being gaslighted to the max, dude.
So who do we hold accountable for the division in our country?
Well, it should be the conglomerates actually run those 2 syndicates, but you can't because they're conglomerates, man. It's like saying,
what do you mean you can't? We're the people.
Right. I know, but it's a too big to fail type of thing that's been going on.
Scary shit.
Even if even though we do hold them accountable, they're still going to be around because they're just too fucking rich, and they run the whole country with 2 networks, for example. The best example I like to use is the banking system. The commercial banks. They're too big to fail because they're always getting bailed out. Yes, and it's like now what do we have? We have this cryptocurrency that's forecasted to be decentralized type of monetary form of money, but I almost guarantee you, man, the feds are going to find a way to make it their own, because that's how it goes. And if you ask me who should be held accountable, it's the feds, but you can't fuck with the feds. You can't. You have to comply with them. You have to, I mean, even I've seen videos on YouTube where the most mafiosos of mafiosos have to comply and have to be put in a witness protection program because of that reason. And it's like, dude, you can't fuck with the feds. For crying out loud, you owe money every year. It's like, you know, they don't go for it. ASMR, go.
I would say that gosh, when we were talking,
Brett brings up the voting. Until voting is secure and confident, there will be no changing accountability. You got a guess right there. Look at that. You know what? But the voting thing will not change.
My cat is so polite.
I know.
He comes up and he gets up and he taps me like, "Excuse me, can you pet me?"
And I, you know, and props to people too that actually still have faith in, you know, the democratic system that we're supposed to have with voting and whatnot. But dude, you know as well as I have, man, we're based in a world where honesty doesn't really necessarily get you where you want to get, man. You have to cut throats on your way there. And that's you see the cat. But dude, seriously,
like, well, I need some pets over here, please.
I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't, back when I was making sales, I didn't make an extra, like, you know, $500 on a commission check for telling the truth to somebody. No, I would blatantly stretch the truth. I wouldn't lie to them. I would stretch the truth. And that's what, unfortunately, politicians do. And that, okay, Anthony took the words out of my mouth. Do you actually believe that your vote counts? No, it does not. The reason why is because we don't have money to lobby. That's what counts, man. You know what lobbying is, right?
Oh, bro. Yeah. I did a whole piece on yeah. And I did a whole, I remember this is where my idea behind the voting system changed. Because I was one of the people that was like, you know, get out there, you know, it's your civic duty, get out there and vote and do your thing. And you know, I still think that you should, but at the same time, when I was in college and I learned about lobbyists,
it should be illegal.
When I learned about lobbyists, K Street, when you have K Street in DC, that's where all the lobbyists hang out. So lobbyists, PACs, super PACs, the difference between them, the laws between them, how much you can donate to each one. And who donates to them, which is, it's the weirdest thing. Like, people think that, remember the movie or the TV show, like House of Cards, like, you know, like, it's a great entertainment.
You can learn a lot from that fucking show, man. Seriously.
That shit is like legit. Like, that shit is legit, you know, and maybe not to the extent of the theatrics of the show, you know.
It's still a fictional show, but the concept is, how do you know that, man? That's the other part of the bizarre. When you have the tobacco industry throwing millions of dollars at this, into a campaign contribution, you know, being like, hey, you know, just when this bill comes up, can you swing it our way? You know, like, and you think that shit doesn't happen? Like, come on. But then in the same breath, you're saying, go out and vote because your vote counts. Like, let's keep it real. Like, you know, there's whether you believe in voter fraud or not, like on the level that we just recently talked about, whether you believe in that or not, there is definitely levels of fraud in all levels. Totally, man.
So it's frustrating when you can't get good people to just tell the fucking truth, man. Like, just
piggybacking bills into bills should be illegal, and that's exactly what happens. Brett hit the nail on the head, man. And you know, it's funny. If I wanted to cover that with you eventually, because I know you're in the communications class at ASU, and you bring up a lot of good subject matter that, quite frankly, it's like, it's very. You know me, man. I crave knowledge. I crave new things.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, fuck yeah. And then there's that. Then there's big pharma.
Absolutely.
You know, you can, for crying out loud, there was an opioid crisis for so long. And just now, like you barely hear about this. It was like one company, it was a Purdue something that got held accountable for all the deaths. And it didn't make headlines, dude. It would be
You know
at the
what would
bottom
trip
of
me
the
out
fucking pile.
is that is if, and I want to do this on your podcast, because if it gets taken down, fuck you.
You're like, it's your fault. That's
No,
your
but
fault.
this is definitely more up your alley, because my podcast is all fun and safe shit. You know, you're the one who pushes the envelope, and you go, and that's why, like, when you invite me on your podcast, I feel a little bit easier with giving some of my opinion. When it comes to my podcast, the whole basis behind it was to push away from politics for a minute. So that's why my podcast is geared more towards, learning about a certain craft or a certain this or a certain that. So, but that's why I love it when you invite me onto your podcast, because we can, I think that even, outside of your podcast, because we talk every day, dude, like every day, every single day. Ladies and gentlemen at home, me and Edgar, we text every day. We talk about shit. Like every single day. So, inviting me on here tonight.
We'll be talking on landlines if text message didn't fucking exist, man.
I fucking appreciate you, having me on tonight. It was fun. I texted him earlier tonight. Well, hold on. What was Brett say?
Here's one thing that we should throw up before we call, because this is very important stuff. If people want to be in the know, is congress.gov. I'm on this site at least once a week, because they account for every day that they're in session and what gets voted on, and every bill that's proposed or passed is spelled out. And this is crazy, dude. These are people that are professional readers and typers. It's crazy because they have a 500-page bill.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
Wait, so who the
fuck's going to read one? Oh yeah. It's like, for example, I work at a school district, and we have board meetings every month. And there's board meeting minutes on their website if you want to hear, or you want to read exactly what was being proposed and whatnot, or voted on. But before that, you get the agenda, which is cool. And Congress does the same thing, because it's the same type of democratic system that you're supposed to be using. But as you mentioned, K Street, dude, that's what single-handedly changes the dynamic of every single, not only here in the United States, man, in other countries too. I mean, it's something we should cover in detail, just so people understand it. Just like we covered the propositions. Yeah. And because I'm confirmation bias is really bad, man, and people need to go back to the fundamentals of what actually created the system that we have now. And then, I mean, most people can't even name the 3 branches of government, dude. That's crazy part. And it's not
or even what they do. Even what the 3 branches do. I think it would be.
Oh God, 9/11. We're going in the rabbit hole, man.
No, I was gonna say, like, that would be a really cool podcast. Like, and I would love to do something like that with you as well. To jump into like that congress.gov, like, especially some of these, like, I think Brett brought up a good thing, like the piggybacking bills. I think that's something that needs to be. That's something that not a lot of people know about, and that's why I think it would be great for us to jump on something. And maybe we should do a little bit of research beforehand, because trying to go through a 500-page thing on a podcast, we'd be here all
that's fucking crazy. So, it's like, and then that Brett says that we hit the nail on the head too. People need to read, and they don't, because they're spoon fed and don't know shit from fucking sugar. And I call them headline readers, man. I'm like, I know so many of them on all sides of the aisle. And I'm just like, wait, if you just stop, give yourself, like, even when you're taking a shit, man, open the article and read it before your fucking last light, dude.
I mean, we'll have to save this for another podcast for sure, but let's just put a pin in this, where we've had multiple let's call them COVID aid bills that have been put on the table, and they've been voted for or voted against, depending on the party. Now, what we should look into is what stuff was piggybacked into that bill, because what
Correct.
everybody is thinking is, I'm looking for my $2,000, or I'm looking for my $1,400, or I'm looking
Yeah.
for my $600, like whatever. I would say literally most people are looking at that. But
Yeah.
what other stuff is piggybacked in that? And we just have to be ready to have
Correct.
that podcast taken down.
Yeah, and then I know Anthony says all that money supposedly is going to other countries and it gets funneled back through foundations, and that's exactly what happens, man. And we get shitted on because we're the people living here, and we deserve all the help we can get from our federal and state and local government, but it doesn't always work out that way. Why? Because we don't have money to lobby for what we want, because we're not tobacco companies, we're not whatever, well, man. And it makes you feel powerless.
AB5, bro. That's exactly what happened with AB5.
AB5 is a great example.
AB5 is a huge example of how lobbyists can change. Because here's the thing, AB5, to break everything down super quick, AB5 was in California was to make contractors, self-contractors, they had to be part of an organization, something like that. But doctors are contractors, and truck drivers. No, who was it? It was, who was it? Damn it! I don't want to misrepresent myself, but I remember it was
truck drivers, doctors. They
had lobbyists that went to bat for them, and they got exempt from the AB5.
Yeah.
Even though they're just as much subcontractors as I am as a musician. Yeah. But because the musician world didn't have lobbyists to go to bat for us, we were about to get fucked on AB5.
Yeah, I remember this clearly, because this that really fucking sucked, and that's something we can use as an example of what lobbying,
Crazy,
looks
right?
like, and it's pretty fucked up. Yeah, but nonetheless, we'll pin it.
We should definitely talk about this in the future.
Yeah, and because we're at the same time, I still during the mental health check with everybody, I still want to keep people informed. Like, hey, while you're checking your mental health, be sure you're informing yourself of all the programs that are available, when you should if unemployment is going to get renewed, which I think it is. I mean, we're looking at a summer where more unemployment applications are probably going to be submitted because of what's going on. I mean, the economy is not just going to it's not going to just prevail overnight. It's going to take some time. But people need to be in the know. Be sure you read. I mean, here's the other thing too, is I always give people homework assignments, like on the side. I'm like, do yourself a favor. I'm like, read the terms and conditions on your iTunes account. And they're like, what do I want to do that for? I'm like, read it. You'll be surprised what you find in there. And, but that's the thing. It's, you have to just tell them, like, it's up to them to do it. So, yeah, man. So, but thank you again for being on, man. I appreciate you.
Can I throw something out to your people real quick?
Of course. Absolutely,
anybody who's watching right now, if I know we got on a lot of tangents tonight. We talked about spice rum, talked about taking baths, we talked about throwing up and
getting
doing
butt naked on the floor
and doing all kinds of fun stuff, right? But I think that whole all those stories really come down to what you were talking about at the very beginning about mental health. This last year was fucking crazy for a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And we didn't even touch base on a lot of the ways that people are battling with their mental health right now. And so the only thing that I can say right now is that if you don't have a friend like Edgar Hernandez, okay, because this dude, I don't even know how to put this to you guys, but like, I kind of felt my sanity going crazy. And if I didn't find a friend, and what's really crazy is that me and Edgar have been friends for a long time, but we've never been really close until this pandemic hit. Like this last year, I like our relationship has just solidified so much more. We over the pandemic, we became, I think, exponential friends. Like our friendship grew exponentially. So if you don't have a friend like Edgar Hernandez, I encourage you to reach out to him, because he's an open book and he will call you back maybe in a few hours, because he's got shit to do. and I just want to throw it out there to you guys too as well. I'm on social media, and reach out to me. I know how it is to just kind of be an extrovert and
Yeah.
want to be around people, and then when you're not, you just kind of feel weird.
Yeah.
And I was
I hear you
searching
on
for
that.
that. So if you're someone out there that's feeling like that, reach out to me. I would love to
Yeah.
chat with you guys as well. So take care of
Definitely.
yourself. I want to quote.
Yeah.
Who was it? What was his name? It's that trashy talk show.
Which one?
Stay good and be good to you and be good to others. What was his name?
Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer, that trashy daytime talk show. I love that shit. But it was like,
I'm like, it wasn't Ricky Lake, was it?
No, it was like, it was. And he was like, stay. It wasn't stay classy, San Diego. It was like, be good
I
to
forgot
you
his
and
end
be good to
tagline.
each other, or something like that. Damn it! I wish I had
I
it.
remember that. Now we got to find that clip. So,
right? Anyways, I love you, dude.
all right, man. Peace out, guys.